doctors, some students, some of you who want rotations pretty soon. We can definitely help with that, and we'll go over that in the webinar. For the other maybe 20 of you who have not yet completed the poll, can you please go ahead and do so? I'll leave it open for just another minute here. Again, please go ahead and fill out the poll. It really does help us, and again, it'll help me know what exactly I can kind of present to you, what questions I can expect to answer. But we definitely want to learn more about you. I think we have about 22 people here right now, so that is great. Only 4 people that fill out the poll. Can you please fill out the poll? That would be super helpful. Also, I think maybe some personal links may have been shared for Zoom. I'm not sure. I think we have someone, Dogyan Lee. I just see about 20 people logged in under your account. So just wanted to mention that. So maybe it won't be possible to vote on the poll. So I'll go ahead and end that in a moment. We'll get started in just a moment here. All right, well, we'll go ahead and jump right in. I will record just the first, again, more formal presentation with the deck that you see in front of you. But once we finish the more formal presentation, we will move on to questions and answers. Again, for everyone here, please do feel comfortable asking questions in the chat. Depending on the time and the questions we get near the end, we may allow everyone the ability to unmute their microphone to ask questions just live on the webinar. But yeah, please do feel free to jump in, ask questions. There's a Q&A section that you can utilize. There's a chat section. I am monitoring both of those. So please, any questions along the way, do feel free to type them in there. And of course, we'll be going over a lot of that, general information about what AMO offers, what you can expect from AMO. And I'm really excited to present with you, and we'll get started in just a moment.
Recording in progress.
All right, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining. I know we were hosting and inviting many of you who are familiar with our partner account, Medi Consulting, so we're super excited to present to you today. My name is Ryan Flores. I am an advisor here at AM Opportunities. I actually am one of the first original advisors who started working with AM Opportunities to help medical students, medical graduates just like yourself over 9 years ago. I myself have probably spoken with thousands of IMGs who are looking for U.S. residency, who are looking to benefit their medical education, and just really happy with the work that AMO has done over the years to continue to provide these opportunities and to expand our reach into healthcare professionals network, right, and become a resource for you. So I'm here today to present, more about what AMO offers, what you can expect, and then of course I'm here to answer any of your questions. So as I mentioned, we will go through more of a formal slide deck. To start the presentation, please do ask questions along the way or after the formal presentation. It'll definitely help. We'll take some time to answer those questions after the presentation. And I already see a question coming in about being a graduate, ESTA. So yes, we'll definitely cover that. And the short answer, yes, you can join under the ESTA. It's the visa waiver program. It's a really easy way to be more travel ready and not necessarily have to apply for a tourist visa and potentially have to wait for an interview date. You can apply through the visa waiver program or the ESTA system. So we can definitely send some more information about that after the webinar as well. But just wanted to kind of address that while I saw that come up. All right. So clinical education for healthcare students and graduates, that is what AM Opportunities is here for. So who is AMO? We create U.S. clinical experiences for medical students and graduates globally. Our platform and services support medical trainees in finding guaranteed placement at top U.S. clinical sites. Really stress the guaranteed placement there. We know there's other resources that medical students, graduates can use for clinical rotations. Many of them, maybe it's an application system, super limited seats, maybe there's an application fee, and you might not even know if you're getting that placement. Well, with AM opportunities, the seats that you see, the clinical sites that you see on the website, the availability that you see in real time, if a spot is available when you apply, when you reserve, you are guaranteed that placement. There's no, switching you out after you reserved an available month. There's no canceling the rotation. You are guaranteed that seat as long as it is available when you apply and when you reserve. And our application system, it wouldn't allow you to, reserve a program that isn't available. So I think there's a nice guarantee there, nice peace of mind, and nice comfort. And we know that that is what helps us stand out from, other places to get rotations. And excuse me, it's been pretty bad here in Chicago with like allergy season. So just a little congested. So I might just take a couple more sips of water, but just wanted to mention that. All right, so how does AMO help? Well, we're here to simplify the clinical rotation experience, right? So as I mentioned, we have that guaranteed placement, right? Through affiliations with hospitals, with universities, with clinics, the programs on our platform are guaranteed seating. You just search, apply, and book on demand. So again, that is one of the biggest benefits. Many of the clinical sites that are on our platform offer rotations. You can apply directly, maybe through them, maybe through their network, but all of the programs on AM Opportunities are on our platform because they want to be available to you. Medical programs, clinical sites, they know how hard it is to find rotations, right? They use AMO so that they can offer these rotations to the larger medical community. So all of the preceptors that we work with, they want to teach, they want to provide themselves as a resource for you. The preceptors understand the IMG journey and what that entails. They want to be there to help you along the way, to give you the knowledge that you're hoping to gain, to help you achieve your goals. And I think that is one of the best parts about AM Opportunities. The preceptors that we work with are truly there for you. Our team is there for you. We want to make sure the experiences that you get meet your goals, meet your educational needs. And we only work with preceptors who do that, who provide that teaching experience, who know how to teach, who know how to cater a learning environment. So secondly, world-class support. I already mentioned, the phenomenal job that the preceptors who host for us do, but AM Opportunities as well. I mentioned I'm an advisor. I'm here to help with general questions, help you find what you're looking for, right? So we're with you every step of the way. We know there's a lot of clinical sites you can choose from. You might want to know what's best for you. Everyone learns differently. Everyone has different educational goals. You can speak with your advisor, before you apply, before you reserve. We can help guide you. We can help answer your questions. We want to make sure that your expectations are met and that we can exceed your expectations. So never hesitate to contact us. We're always here as a resource for you. And that, again, doesn't stop even when you reserve the program. After you reserve your program, you're paired with an AMO coach who's going to offer you one-to-one support for anything you need. We do support a tourist visa. If you need an invitation letter because you scheduled your interview date and you reserved a rotation, your coach will help you get that invitation letter to bring on your interview. We'll help with housing resources. Once you reserve clinical site, you'll have housing links available through like Airbnb, through some homestay networks that we partner with, all on your application. Your coach is here not to book the housing for you. You'll do that on your own, but they will be there to help answer any questions. Maybe you want to plan your route every day to this clinical site, right? You can ask your coach for guidance. Maybe you're looking for a grocery store. You can ask your coach for guidance. We're there to help you. We know getting the experience can be tedious. We know logistically it can be tedious. So we're here to make that easier. We're here to do all the document review, right? You'll upload the documents that are required to the website. We'll review all those. We'll send them over to the program. The coach will make sure that you're clear to start on time. So again, I cannot stress enough just that world-class support that we provide. Customer service is at the heart of what we do. Service is at the heart of what we do. We know how important it is for you as a student, as a graduate. So we're here for that. Lastly, most importantly, for many of you, I'm sure, standing out in the match. So we know the U.S. residency, match application process is very important to those of you who want to study medicine in the U.S. or practice medicine in the U.S. All the preceptors that we work with that host for us offer the ability to earn a letter of recommendation. it's those letters of recommendation that you can use for the residency application, for your match application. It's always recommended, I would say almost necessary, that you have at least 3 letters of recommendation from US preceptors. The clinical rotations that we offer allow you to earn those. So if you do multiple clinical experiences, you have the ability to earn multiple letters of recommendation. These are merit-based. They are directly from your preceptor. AMO doesn't write the letters. We don't edit them. We don't facilitate them. It's strictly between you and the doctor. And that is very important. You don't want a templated LOR, right? You don't want something that's generic. You want something that's personal, that speaks about your character, about your medical background, about your education, and why the doctor that you rotated with is going to recommend you for the match. So these letters are very strong. The preceptors write them. I would say every preceptor expects that you are going to speak with them about the letter early on during the rotation. And, excuse me, this is important because it allows the preceptor to know your goals, what you're hoping to achieve in during the course, or I should say during the rotation, and what you're hoping the doctor's going to write about in that letter. So have an open conversation with the doctor. They want to write these letters. Yes, it has to be merit-based, right? And what do I mean by merit-based? I think that scares people sometimes because most people hear that and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't earn a letter. It's like, no, you will have every opportunity to earn a letter. It just means you have to show up on time. You have to pay attention. You have to be courteous to the staff, to the patients, to the doctor, right? Those simple things that just kind of go into, being able to earn something that's merit-based. As long as you're there to learn every day, you're giving 100%, you're not in the background on your phone, you're not disrupting learnings, you're not rude to staff, you're going to earn a letter of recommendation. And really, that's a good thing. I mean, you want your letter to stand out from somebody who isn't participating, who is disruptive, who is late every day, right? Maybe they should not earn a letter of recommendation or earn the strongest letter of recommendation. So again, it is merit-based. Don't let that scare you. The majority, I can't give a percentage, but I would say 95, 99% of people will earn a letter of recommendation during the rotations. Again, it's just that it has to be earned in the sense of, coming to learn every day, being there to study. I mean, for these rotations, we know it can, you're not only paying for maybe the rotation, but the housing, the travel. If you're doing that, you're likely going to go into the rotation every day, ready to learn, ready to get that letter. But again, the doctors are ready to speak with you about letters. They want to learn more about that so that they can write you the strongest letter possible. As I mentioned, in guaranteed placement section, the preceptors are here because they want to provide this opportunity for you. They know how important the IMG community is to the U.S. healthcare system, right? So they want to write these letters. They want to talk with you about it, but they just have to be merit-based. All right, so the benefits of away clinical experiences. So we talked about a few already. Most important, of course, being the letter of recommendation. But there's some other benefits along the way, right? Maybe you're not looking to apply for U.S. residency in the U.S. Those letters are still important. They can set your own personal CV, resume up. It can be a standout, right? Learning from the U.S. healthcare system, learning from a U.S. preceptor, can add that to your resume. Be used as a stepping stone, maybe as you apply for your next job in your home country. You also practice your medical English, learn new terminology. I think this is really one of those great benefits that, you're rotating for 4 weeks, day in, day out. You're going to practice your medical English in real time. You're going to learn about the U.S. healthcare system from, Western medicine. You're going to learn new terminology. New terminology over the last few years, telehealth, virtual medicine, right? These are all kind of new ways to practice, to deliver, and to learn about medicine. So, medicine continues to evolve, especially in this kind of post-pandemic, post-COVID world. I know there's still, COVID is real. It's still very serious, but we've adapted in different ways, especially in regard to medicine and how we teach, how we learn, how we deliver. So you're going to learn that during these clinical experiences. We talked about the letters of recommendation. Additionally, you're going to expand your network of doctors and medical students. The students that you rotate with, the doctors that you rotate with, they become mentors for life. They become colleagues. It's not uncommon to stay in touch with those students, with those doctors, to share your ups, your downs, to, ask for advice. So again, you do form long-lasting relationships. And I think that's such a nice aspect of these rotations. Most of the rotations, maybe it's, 1 or 2 or 3 individuals that you're rotating with. The rotations are hosted monthly, so you get a good opportunity to meet different medical students, medical graduates from all over the world. You're going to gain clinical knowledge for the USMLE. It's a misconception that you need USMLE to do a clinical experience. For AMO opportunities for the rotations we offer, 95% of the rotations we offer, you do not need to have the USMLE in advance. Actually, the rotations are a perfect way to study for the USMLE or to prepare for the USMLE. Yes, it can be a lot to manage side by side. And again, everyone learns differently, everyone studies differently, but the rotations can be very beneficial. Why? Because you're rotating with the US doctor. You're rotating with preceptors who understand the importance of a strong letter of recommendation for the match process, for the residency application. And with that, those preceptors are going to help you along the way with what your aspirations are, with what you need most help with. If you go into the doctor and you're like, hey, I'm studying for the USMLE, I really need to practice this part of medicine, or I really need to brush up on my clinical knowledge and this aspect. The doctor's going to help you with that. They're not necessarily going to tell you all the questions that are going to be on the USMLE, but they're going to prepare you knowing that you're taking that exam. And I think that's a really, really, really positive aspect of showing how the physicians do want to get back. Lastly, and those of you who are medical students, you can earn school credit for select experiences. So if you're looking to do cores or electives, let your AMO advisor know, let me know. We'll kind of walk you through that process. Your school would be the body that gives credit, right? AMO doesn't give credit. We're not a university. But what we found is if we have your school requirements and your school has specific needs or evaluation, you can give that to us in advance, and we will do our best to find you a program on our site that can fulfill those requirements. And what we'll do is we'll go through a special process to ensure that even before you reserve the rotation, before you're locked into the rotation, we, AMO, can communicate with the preceptor that you do have these special requirements, just to ensure that the preceptor is aware in advance and can do exactly what's expected so that you can earn credit. And I think, again, if you are looking to earn credit from your university, doing a rotation with AMO, speak with your advisor. Do not book directly on our site. We'll want to double check, go through this process in advance to make sure that the rotation would qualify, with your university requirements. I'm just going to take a quick sip of water here. Sorry. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so what is a clinical experience? Well, we offer a couple different types here. The two that I'll kind of separate out, in-person and virtual. So we have in-person and virtual clinical experiences really are on-the-job training where you rotate with a healthcare professional in a clinical setting. Yes, we have observerships, we have nursing rotations, we have dentistry rotations, we have research rotations. And I know one of the topics for this webinar was the research rotation. So we'll definitely have a moment to chat about those. Those are in-person experiences that are 4-week rotations with the research component. So in these rotations, you can expect that the preceptor who's hosting you will help you. You'll get the clinical experience, but then they're also going to attach a research component on the side. It's typically, involves the nature of the specialty that you're rotating in. You might be working on research projects. You might do soft research for the preceptor in that specialty. Now, in some cases, preceptors might be working on, on research for publishing. We can't guarantee that that's going to be the case for the rotation or the time that you're coming. But if it is an option, if you do learn that during the rotation, there is a potential to get published, that could be something that does happen. We just can't guarantee that because, preceptors are working on different research projects at all different times. It's not necessarily guaranteed that, the part that you're working on or the month that you're doing the rotation is going to play into a publication. But again, you can still get a research component. You'll learn how preceptors conduct research here in the US, how medical students do, how graduates do. So these are really great rotations to brush up and to get more research exposure. Now, let's say you're looking for just a standard clinical experience in person. We have two different types: hands-on observerships. Now, hands-on rotations do, allow you to speak with patients, participate in non-invasive procedures. So anything that can't be considered the practice of medicine. Why? Because in the US, you cannot practice medicine unless you're a licensed physician. So that's why it would be like non-invasive procedures, maybe checking blood or checking heart rate, maybe taking blood vitals. But again, you're not going to assist in surgeries. You're not going to diagnose a patient. You may discuss differential diagnosis with the doctor, but you wouldn't be physically diagnosing the patient, right? It's just too close to the practice of medicine. And really, you don't want to run that fine line of, is it considered practice of medicine? Is it not? It's just going to raise red flags in the future. So, the doctors will ensure that you're doing everything that you're able to do without necessarily, trying to do too much. Practice your clinical skills, practical examinations. And then, of course, we have observerships, right? You're going to do you're going to participate in the same active case presentations, the same differential diagnosis. You're still going to observe those top procedures. The only difference is you're not going to be physically hands-on with the patient. And really, there's a very common misconception that observerships are less valuable than hands-on. They're not. It's just a different exposure type. You can earn the same letter of recommendation, in a hands-on rotation as you can in observership. Really, it speaks to the different types. Is really more what you're eligible for. Earlier medical students, for example, you haven't gone through your clinical years. You're probably still in your preclinical years. Typically, you're eligible for an observership program. Now, again, everyone learns differently. If you're an earlier medical student, maybe you've done some experiences in your home country. You're like, I want a hands-on experience. It could be possible. We're just kind of giving general guidance. Speak with your advisor. We're going to help make sure that you're applying for the right program for yourself. Hands-on rotations typically are relegated for medical students, right? For those who are in their clinical years. So I'm thinking 4th, 5th, 6th year internship year students typically are eligible for hands-on rotations. Now, it's also, let me start with saying graduated medical doctors are typically eligible for observership rotations. Again, this is more so because of that thin line for what is considered practicing medicine, especially when you're doing a rotation in the United States. You're a doctor in your home country, you're coming to the US to learn more about your specialty, about medicine, you're eligible for an observership. And even and one of the most important things, if you needed a visa, the visa language speaks to students doing hands-on rotations. And that's why we see a lot of success getting students visa approvals for hands-on rotations. Whereas with graduates, it's a little more murky. It's not as clear. And typically we don't see graduates get approved for visas doing hands-on rotations. We do see graduates get approved for visas doing observership rotations. Why? Because again, you're shadowing, you're not necessarily practicing medicine. There's no yellow or red flags, about that. And one of the most important parts of the visa application is like proving strong ties to your home country. So be prepared as a student, right? You're in university. It kind of shows that you're going to, come back. For graduates, showing that you have a job back home and you have monthly income. You're going to go back for that. Always with the visa stuff is they just want to make sure that there's no chance that you'll overstay the visa type or the visa length. So something to keep in mind. We can dive more into that during the questions and answers, or if you have other additional questions, you can always feel free to email us. All right, virtual clinical experiences. Virtual clinical experience are just another exposure type. They're the same rotations as in person. You're still going to have a chance to earn a letter of recommendation. Those letters of recommendation carry equal weight. Why? Because it's the same rotation. You're still learning about how you can practice and deliver medicine in a virtual environment. Telehealth is real. I'm sure many of you are familiar with telehealth appointments. I know I am. I barely go to the doctor for checkups at this point, right? It's usually a quick telehealth appointment. If I need to get blood work or anything taken, I'll go to a clinic wherever they send me. But you can learn such valuable information in virtual clinical experiences. And for those of you who do want to be a doctor in the US or who are aspiring to be a doctor in the US, do a telehealth rotation, do a virtual rotation, because it's going to make sure you stay ahead of your peers, your colleagues, of anyone who hasn't done a virtual rotation. You will deliver medicine through telehealth. if you practice in the US, right? So doing a virtual rotation, a telehealth rotation early is going to give you exposure to that. It's just going to add to your medical knowledge. It's going to add to your, worldview of medicine. And it's frankly going to be something you'll probably be doing, during residency in the US. Telehealth is very real. It is an easy way to deliver medicine. It's affordable. Now in rural communities in the US, you don't have to drive maybe 2, 3, 4 hours to see your doctor. You can see your doctor in a setting like this. And, as a trainee, as someone who's rotating, you're going to log in and be right there on the device, right, with the doctor. And you're going to learn in that fashion. And, the doctors that host the telehealth rotations, they're versed in how to, cater to these rotations, how to make sure you're getting the most out of it in a telehealth environment. It's going to further your medical education while you're at home. You'll learn advancements in telehealth. You're also going to save on cost. When you do an in-person rotation, sometimes it's the extra costs that kind of play in, right? The travel, the housing, the accommodation, the food. When you do a virtual rotation, you don't necessarily have to worry about that because you're, not traveling. You don't have to get your immunizations. You still need food, but it's probably, from your house or your local grocery store. So you're going to save money overall. So it is a great way to save money. If you also needed a visa and the wait time was like 6 to 8 months and you're like, I need a rotation right now, you can do a virtual rotation. We can typically arrange that in about a month's time. So I did see some people in the US, I did see some individuals who are interested in a rotation in less than 3 months. Virtual rotation is perfect for you if you're, worried about the rush to travel and get something in person. So yeah, definitely cannot stress the importance of virtual clinical experiences any more than I think I already am. They're very useful. They're very valuable. And, again, just like observerships, don't see them as a less experience than hands-on. That really is a common misconception. We're here to kind of be a resource for you, provide the information. We see students left and right and graduates left and right match into residency programs who have only done observerships or who have done telehealth mixed with observerships and hands-on. All of this is just a great way to continue your education and to learn more about medicine and to show residency programs that you're, a lifelong learner, that you're trying to stand out. So something to keep in mind there. Oh, and I did see a question come in. I have medical license and, of course, medical graduate. So LOR is obtained from either hands-on experience and observership, isn't it? Yes. You can earn a letter of recommendation in either rotation type. Hands-on, observership, virtual, research, any clinical experience that you do with AM opportunities, you can earn a letter of recommendation directly from the preceptor. So hopefully that helps answer the question. All right. I'm not going to spend too much time on this screen, probably. It's our AMO advisor team. We have a team of 6 advisors. You can see a lot of them here. I've already kind of gone over what we do, right? We make those program recommendations. We discuss your educational goals, address your questions and concerns, and we're going to assist with reservations. Now, we're here to also host webinars. Like, we want to talk with you. We want to learn more about you. We want to help you along the way. We want to make sure that you get into the right rotation and your needs are met. So our advisor team is here for that. Again, I'm an advisor myself. This is similar to what we do every day. It's bright and early here in Chicago. Most of us probably haven't even woken up yet, but we're going to be here all day. So if you have questions, follow up with us after the webinar. You can email us. You can reach us on text messaging, WhatsApp. We also have personal meeting links. You can schedule calls with us. Now, in the chat, I did send our email address, but what I also want to share with everyone is our general WhatsApp number, as well as a link that you can use to schedule a call with our advisors. So I did share that in the chat. Bookmark that link. It's super helpful. It allows you to schedule a call with the AMO advisor that is available on their calendar and your own. So I definitely recommend it. They're short, 15-minute intro calls. It could be shorter than that. We can set up another one. But we want to learn more about you and learn more about your timeline, what type of rotation you're looking for. Then, of course, we have our visitor experience team. So I mentioned in an earlier slide about the world-class support. That's your visitor experience team as your coach. So after you reserve a rotation, you are paired with the AMO visitor experience coach, and they're going to help you to make sure that you are set to enroll in the program on time and to start on time. Typically, enrollment is required 45 days before you begin. So you'll upload all the documents, you'll pay all the fees. You'll essentially be ready to start. Once you go through enrollment, right, that's when the visitor experience team sends that your information fully, everything that you've uploaded, to the program for final processing, and then you'll be cleared to start on time. So your coaches will help with that. They're going to make sure that you're set to start on time. They're going to verify those required documents, right? So as they prepare to send them to the program, they're going to make sure everything that you have submitted is acceptable. There's going to be no delays. We have helped over 5,000 medical students and graduates at this time get rotation. So we're very familiar with this process. We want to make sure you get the rotation that you need. Make accommodation recommendations. So yes, we have resources through Airbnb, through homestay networks that you can book on your own. Through the application page, you go to those sites, you can book them. If you have questions along the way, you can ask your coach, right? Hey, I'm thinking about this option in Airbnb. Do you think it's too far from my clinical site? And your coach might say, no, it actually is only a 35-minute bus ride or train ride. And actually in the US, I'm sure you're familiar as well. In your city, 35 minutes, an hour to commute to work or to school is pretty standard. But yes, they're there to help with those questions. They're going to host a virtual orientation before you start. Great way to connect with other colleagues, other AMO rotators. And then, of course, if you do need that visa support, they will help provide that invitation letter for your interview date. So another question did come up. I think it's a good time to answer this. Even though I can get an LOR through a virtual experience, frankly speaking, isn't it different from the LOR that I'm getting through a real observership? No, it's not. The reason is because in both environments, you're still in the US healthcare system. Whether it's in person or whether it's in an environment like this, you're still rotating in real time with a US doctor who's seeing real patients in real time, whether those patients are through telehealth or maybe the patient's in the office with the doctor and you're in a virtual environment. You are still there. You are still active. You're still talking with the doctor before they see the patient, right, in the environment. They're going to log on with you beforehand, talk with you about the patient before. You're going to go in the room with the doctor. You're going to talk about with the doctor after. So no, it is not a different LOR. It's the same letter of recommendation. And I will say what we've seen throughout the years is, especially during like residency interviews, and we speak with a lot of different program directors, like virtual rotations are almost expected on residency applications. The world was shut down for 2 years. A lot of medical students, a lot of graduates, a lot of doctors, every learning went to a full virtual environment, and with that, so did medicine, right? So again, and when you couldn't travel for 2 years, when you couldn't do in-person rotations, but you still needed to get the reps in or to practice your medical education, to what you're learning, how did you do that, right? You couldn't travel while you did a virtual rotation, right? So that's a perfect way to navigate not being able to do a rotation in person, maybe because of the visa wait time, maybe because of the cost. Now you can still do a virtual rotation. And you're still rotating with that same US preceptor who's maybe hosting an in-person rotation, but they also offer a virtual rotation, right? So you can still earn the same letter of recommendation. Don't think of a virtual rotation as not a real rotation. It is very real. Telehealth, delivering medicine in this environment is very real. And again, you want to get exposure there. So I hope that helps answer that question. And of course, happy to answer more questions along the way about virtual rotations. All right, got a couple more slides, and then we'll go on to the more informal, questions and answer section. So I've already discussed some of the requirements along the way. We like to show this slide. I like to show this slide just so you can see what to expect. Complete your enrollment. These are the standard requirements for in-person rotations. Some programs might have a few more requirements, but we'll always be transparent. And on the program page, when you're on our website, you will see those requirements under like additional requirements on the program page. So you can always think of these on the screen here as those standard requirements. And you'll even notice a few of them have some asterisks next to them, right? So like immunizations, health insurance, visa, so even malpractice insurance, if it's non-patient interactive, you're not going to need those for virtual rotations, right? Because you're not traveling. Additionally, if you're doing an observership program, you wouldn't need malpractice insurance. So again, this is just an outline of what requirements you may need to submit along the way, depending on the different type. But again, just wanted to show this for everyone. All right, letters of recommendation. I think we've talked a lot about the letters, but I think the most important message here is LOR is ranked number 3, most important element of a U.S. residency application. What does this mean? It means that letters aren't the only thing that stand out in your application, right? There's 44 different categories, but it does mean letters of recommendation are consistently ranked that's a little bit higher, right? Consistently number 3, most important. So you know how important that letter of recommendation is. And that's why we understand how important it is for the preceptors that work with us to offer those letters, right? So you're going to be able to earn those. You're going to be able to stand out with the merit-based letter. You know, they're a valuable component to your application. And we do have some programs that have LORs in a hospital or university letterhead. I know some students, some trainees prefer that. I will say the image at the top of the letter isn't as important as many people think it is, right? What's important is what's written in the letter. So something to keep in mind. There's been a misconception throughout the years, and maybe this was true 15, 20, 30 years ago without modern technology where, you know, applications are coming in, thousands of applications, you know, you're looking at the letterhead. But think about today's world. Tens of thousands of applications are coming through. An individual person is not doing the first check of these letters. They're not like, oh, there's a letterhead. No, it's going through computer systems. It's going through algorithms. Most of the time, it's probably not picking up in the letterhead. What it's picking up on, what residency programs are what they think is most important is what's written in the letter, right? What's written about you, why the doctor feels that you are going to be a good match for the U.S. residency. You know, how did you stand out? So just wanted to mention that. But of course, we understand some individuals, some trainees might want a specific, you know, letterhead. And if that's the case, we can show you those options that we have. But do know you can earn strong, valuable letters from any rotation that you do. A lot of times it's dependent on the preceptor who's hosting, right? Maybe you want to earn a letter from someone affiliated with a university hospital or a specific hospital. That's possible. The reality of most U.S. medicine at this point is you're not going to the hospital, right? Like as a primary care patient, as a family medicine patient, you're likely not going to the hospital unless you're that severely injured or, you know, unfortunately, you have to be admitted. Doctors aren't going to the hospital typically every day. They're in their clinic. They're at, you know, clinic near the hospital. So something to keep in mind there as well. A lot of U.S. medicine isn't taking place in a hospital. Even surgeries at this point are being kind of outsourced to surgery centers. It's just, you know, it's just the nature of the U.S. medical system. A lot of privatized, you know, companies are kind of owning like hospital networks. So something to keep in mind. As I mentioned as well, communicating early with your preceptor about your hopes to earn an LOR is very important. They expect those conversations. And again, they're possible in both in-person and virtual rotations. All right, planning ahead. So for those of you who do want to come in person, right, schedule a call with an advisor. This is all stuff I probably already mentioned. Stay informed, keep up to date with your visa wait times. Stay informed with new programs, right? Stay informed with current cost of travel, current cost of, you know, your currency to the US dollar. It all plays a factor. We're here to help with that information too. And of course, make travel arrangements early. If you're planning for a month trip, I mean, me personally, if I was going to another country for my first time for a month, I would make my travel arrangements early. I'd plan well in advance. You know, I wouldn't say, hey, I'm going to go to, you know, X country in a month for a month without, you know, planning well in advance. So I like to recommend 4 to 6 months in advance between applying and reserving at least 4 to 6 months in advance. You're going to get access to the best rotations. You're not going to rush to get the documents in. It's just going to make it that much simpler of a process. Now, that being said, we can arrange rotations in less time than that. For in-person rotations, typically we need at least 2 months, and making sure that you have all those documents submitted in time, right? That's why we recommend, you know, applying and reserving 4 to 6 months out. It gives you time to get all the documents in, to not feel rushed, and you don't want to jeopardize your start or the program. So something to mention, but again, talk with your advisor about that. We're here for that. We deal with hundreds of students, hundreds of graduates. Everyone has a different situation. Everyone, you know, travels differently. Everyone learns differently. So talk to us. Let us know what's best for you, and we're going to, you know, put you in the best position forward. All right, great. Well, we've kind of finished the more formal questions the more formal presentation. So we will move into more of the questions and answers section. I did see 2 questions come in that I can record that I can answer before we stop recording. So this is in regard to the ESTA. Yes, you can use the ESTA to travel. If you are eligible for the visa waiver program for the ESTA process, you can use the ESTA to do a rotation with AMO. We've had many trainees who have. I believe it allows you to stay up to 90 days. Definitely look into, the ESTA rules and regulations just to get the best, information. But yes, you should be able to join. And I shouldn't say should. Yes, you can join under the ESTA visa waiver program. And I did get a question, how many Koreans are availing this AMO service? I don't have an exact number on me right now. I just wasn't prepared for that. But I will say we have hundreds, if not thousands, of Koreans who have signed up. I know we have had many who have rotated with us. And, I have some information. Maybe I could take a quick peek right here. But before I do that, and actually, let me just see. I know I think it'd be helpful. Maybe to again, I don't have all the information at my disposal right here, but I might be able to give just an idea of maybe recently. So let's see. So for example, even since July, we've probably had over 50 applications from Koreans who are looking to do rotations. And I see at least 7 who have reserved rotations in the last month for upcoming months. So we do get many trainees from all around the world, many Koreans who, apply for clinical experiences every day. And we have many who have reserved as well. And we hope you can be the next. So please don't hesitate to contact us. Again, I did share our contact information in the chat. For those of you who are here live, thank you for joining. Please stay on, and we'll go through some more questions and answers. For those of you who are watching this after we've presented, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time. Please contact us. Please reach out to us. My name is Ryan. Again, I'm an advisor here at AM Opportunities. And, we hope to hear from you. We can't stress that enough. We do want to speak with you. And we do want to help be, the provider of your next clinical rotation. So, again, don't hesitate to contact us. It's bright and early here in Chicago. I know it's pretty late there in Korea. But we'll be here online for the next several hours throughout the day. So if you're up, you have questions, don't hesitate to email us. You can WhatsApp message us and schedule a call. Thank you, everyone. Again, for those of you who are on live, we will go through a question and answer section. I want to thank everyone for viewing this webinar. Thank you so much.